welcome back. Welcome back. For the first timers, welcome and welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy. Subscribe, like and comment. Let me know what you think about this channel. So as the title suggests, I'm gonna talk about a bit sensitive things that people go through but they never talk about, specifically how bad goodbyes are, especially with your family. So I've had experiences where I felt really bad when I had to give goodbyes to my family members, and those are the instances that I want to share with you today. So the first instance happened years back when I was in my primary 3, and I remember I'd lost my grandmother, so it was a time for us as a family to come back, to get together, like my relatives, my cousins. I actually met so many people that I didn't even know existed, who were actually my relatives. So what happened is that we had just come from a different funeral, and so we traveled home, Keshagi, to my grandma's funeral. So there I met so many people, we bonded so much, and it was time to leave. It was the hardest thing that ever happened, because I remember my mom just told me I was actually made to come back with my mom's friends. In fact, let me tell you how that happened. So you see, the previous night it was after the burial, so we were chatting around and everything is so nice, you're bonding with your family, blah blah blah. So no one even knew that we'd leave. So we had even plans, like we had planned to walk around, because it was somehow one of the few times I had gone home, and so I needed to know so many places at home. So we had just planned a lot for that week to walk. Little did I know that my mom was already planning for me to leave. So what happened is we went to sleep late that day, and then in the morning I was woken up at around 5, if I remember so clearly. I was woken up at around 5 because my mom's friends were leaving that early. I tried to dodge. I actually even went to bathe at that time so that I could not be found. My mom was like, "No, you're not going to bathe. Can you come here? You're going home." So it was really sad for me. So when I got home, it was so sad. I felt so moody, especially going by the fact that I had left my mom there, and I had to stay with our house manager at that time. I would actually be crying every time. Like I remember there was a time I was going to fetch water, so I was so crying, and then when I saw someone I knew, I washed my face thinking that now she would not know that I was crying. Poor me. Kube tears, even if you wash, they will still remain dried on your face. That is something I didn't know. But that was really a sad moment for me, and I really knew the value of just being close to your family at that time. Another instance is the first time I went to a boarding school. Well, the first time, that was in Form 1, because I was never really in a boarding school in primary. The boarding I was in primary was a half boarding, which I wouldn't say, because I would see my mom every day still, and it wasn't very far from home. So the first real boarding school I went to was in Form 1, and the first term was okay. And then when I was going back to school, I just felt traumatized. I was stressed up. I would cry a lot, and I actually knew the value of having your family around at that time, because you know, in school no one is your mom and no one cares. You get me? Yeah. So those are some of the instances that really made me feel like family is really important. And again, I had a friend of mine who was not a Kenyan citizen. So when time came for her to leave for their country, it was really a traumatizing moment, because it was someone I was so used to, and I could not just imagine my life and starting new friendships with others. So it was really sad for me, because somehow I knew she would never come back, being that she never really had relatives around and she had just come to study. It was really sad for me, even though she had promised to come back, which she did some few years ago back. But at that time when she was leaving, it was like the darkest moment of my life. That means the friends I'm also really important. Just after our graduation, when some people, after some few days, people just decided to leave the WhatsApp groups that we had. It really felt sad because I knew somehow I would never meet these people again, and that was the end of it. People you are so close to, like for me, it happens that I get easy with people so fast that when we now start to detach, it gets into me so much that it even affects how I do my stuff. So that also really affected me in a way. But I thank God all these things happen, but I get over them and they move on. So I believe that everyone else has those moments where they feel low, especially when saying goodbyes to their friends, relatives, or whoever. And even with the company, I remember the last place I worked, the first ever place I worked, I got so attached to some of the people there that when I was leaving, I didn't even feel like leaving. You know, sometimes you're applying for other jobs, you really want to leave, but at the same time, you're thinking, now, how am I going to leave these people? Who else am I going to get there to get used to? You know, that's some of the things that happen. Even now, I still miss some of the people there, but life has to go on, you know. So these are things that happen. I would really love to hear what other people have. If you've gone through the same, please share with me. I think I just have some problems with attachments because when I get attached to someone, it becomes so difficult. I'm really sorry. It becomes so difficult to forget about them or to detach. Yeah, exactly. So comment down below. I really want to know your experiences. If you've had difficulties in saying goodbyes, please share. I'm waiting. Meanwhile, thank you for watching again, and I hope you have a nice time. Let's meet again next time as we talk about other